like you've had all these experiences and like these viewpoints. Like yeah, like I couldn't square the circle. I couldn't understand why he was he would say something like that. Now all of a sudden, after all these movies and all these experiences, and representing the United States as a military person, and then like more so like even if he had all those feelings pent inside and it's like and they're like deep rooted feelings that he had, like if there was any time for him to express those feelings to anybody, it would have been to somebody who's comes from his community, who has the same experiences, and who could understand how he feels.
Yeah.
Like War Machine in the beginning of the movie. I'm the beginning of the show, the series. That would have been a great way to introduce those underlining pinnings of the racial experience in this, despite everything that's happened and everything that's happening. But that's why I'm like, all right, well, I'll just chalk it all up to he must have not felt like that internally because if he did, then that experience with Isaiah Bradley wouldn't have been so profound. Not to go bog into the details, but like fast forward to the end. Been talking for like the last 40 minutes.
Not wanting to go into the details.
Yeah, after talking about all the details, but after all this, then they like at the end this scene and he makes nice. Captain America like decides they like you see him like have a decision between like killing the person who or going after the person who killed his friend Lamar, or should I save people? And he ended up saving people, so it's like a little redemptive on his part too. But he's no longer Captain America at that point. But at the end, Captain Falcon becomes Captain America. Captain Falcon, the Falcon becomes Captain America, comes in, saves the day, all that jazz. A lot of other stuff in between, but anyways, the meat of it.
Oh, now we're getting into something.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, the meat of it is
Is one of the dumbest lines in cinema history.
let me ease up to it. Like there's a part like after he meets Isaiah Bradley, he's like throwing the shield around and he's talking with Bucky, and Bucky was like I guess like you get the sense that he's telling Bucky about this experience, and Bucky's like, wow man, I never thought it was so hard for you to I never thought about what it meant to be to ask a black person to carry the shield, carry the stars and stripes. And you're just like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you were alive in an era where racism was 100% okay.
he literally until like within the last 5 years, the only thing he knew was segregation.
And then he gets his mind wiped by the Soviets, or the Soviets, whatever, the skull, the Hydra, and then it's just like, all right, you guys don't know. And he's like, yeah, me and and Steve had no idea, and it's just like, all right, like, and that was like a missed opportunity.
Steve didn't know.
Yeah, he's like, oh, we didn't know what it meant to ask a black man to carry the shield. I'm like, all right, like first of all,
they literally couldn't serve with black people.
Yeah,
They segregated the military.
Not only did they have the World War II experience, Steve went
There
back.
was no black people in World War II that were like on that front line, like in the Battle of the Bulge, like the beaches of Normandy.
Yeah, I saw some. I'm not familiar with the history around that time in terms of the military service, but
they were in it, but it was segregated.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because that was around the time of Jim Crow, or right before.
Yeah. So like everybody that landed on the beaches of Normandy had to be white.
Wow. Yeah.
The only like differences would be like, oh, there might be a Jew there. Like,
yeah. Well, I knew like at the very least, like even if like in wartime they didn't experience it, like maybe it's like, oh, they saw black people, there's some black people in Captain America.
They didn't serve together because of their skin color.
Yeah, so it's like maybe
unless there was some extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Like sometimes there were cooks who were black who then were around people.
I remember in Captain America when they had scenes back there, like in General Patton's army, they had like some black soldiers in there, and like even like they were who served under Captain America in the whole thing. But like besides like even with that aside, like
they would have been aware
they still lived an entire life outside of the military, so they should have been very well aware about the racism that existed, and especially Steve, because he went back to be with Peggy, so he's living throughout this whole time period. Whereas, like, the civil rights era, like, he's living throughout all this shit.
He would have, seen Martin Luther King on the TV.
Right. So, like, for him to be like, oh, he has no idea. Like, we had no idea. It's like, that was such
He had no idea. He went back in time and literally relived the civil rights era.
It's like, yo, it was such a missed opportunity for Bucky. Like, Bucky could have been like, that could have been a time where, like, Bucky's sitting there, like, damn, man, like, I know
it's
things are
time
bad.
for there to be a change or something like that.
Yeah. Or, like, he could have been like, shared, like, an experience back in the day that he had, and he didn't think anything was, or he thought something was wrong with it, but he didn't do anything about it, and he regretted it, or something like it's the opportunity for so much to be there, but just for it to be like, yeah, I didn't know, my bad. It was just like, that was a missed opportunity.
Also, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They're apologizing for not judging him for the color of his skin.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what they're doing.
Yeah. It's funny.
Sorry, we didn't realize you were black.
Oh, I had no idea.
And what that means.
Yeah.
Must be such a weight on your shoulders. Being yourself.
Yeah. It was like, yeah, whatever the fuck.
Because then you're now projecting a feeling of weight onto somebody because of their skin color.
Yeah.
Like, not every black person has the weight of being black on their shoulders.
Right. It's just that there's all different kind of experiences with Caribbean black, or you lived outside the country and you immigrated over here.
Immigrant.
It's very, very different. It's very different. But it's like, that's when I came across this one video. It's like, I'll try to see if I could plug it in here, or if there's anything I can plug it.
He's up. Where am I? Get the general. It's the year 2013. Now you're below New York City in a top secret military bunker. How do you feel?
Honestly, Doc, I feel like shit. Boy, can you get me a cup of Joe? I'm literally freezing my nuts off here.
What the f*** did he just say to me?
Coffee. Can you read? If a pen, I'll write it down for you. It's fine.
Whoa! Come on. Times have changed. Show some respect, Captain. Come on.
Doc, I think we got a spy amongst us.
A spy? What?
The Jap kid.
I'm not a spy.
He's Korean.
What the f does that mean? They're all the same?
What happened? He's so racist.
Well, he lived through the 1930s and 40s. I mean, it would stand to reason that it was completely acceptable back then for a white New Yorker to be absurdly racist.
Hey, Jensa, can I get a Lucky Strike, preferably unfiltered? None of that sissy shit.
You can't smoke in here. It's against the law.
Christ, the Nazis won, didn't they? What is this, the 7th, 8th one?
No, actually, it's quite the opposite. In fact, we now even have a black president and— Ah!
Don't you ever take that tone with me again, you dumb broad. It's not a funny joke.
I'm a lesbian. Don't f*** with me.
Fuck is a lesbian?
Captain!
What?
It's not a joke. We do have a black president. We just reelected him.
I don't even know what this A stands for anymore.
Probably means asshole.
Oh,
Sounds like an accurate
I don't
depiction
even know what this A stands for.
It's like an accurate depiction of when Captain America came back and like, oh yeah, somebody who lived in the 30s and 40s, like, oh yeah. But yeah, so that was just a missed opportunity. So.
Can you get me a coffee, boy? The fuck did he say to me?
Yeah. Oh shit. But yeah, so it's like, you know, someone who lived through that era, like, to not offer anything. But it's like, all right.
And not like in some rural, like,
middle of nowhere. Like, they were from New York.
like
Brooklyn.
like the middle of nowhere in Wyoming, where like not like in a racial hotbed.
Yeah.
He's from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yo. Yo. Alright. Okay. So that was but
He would have been hearing the N-word
on a regular.
On like an every other day basis.
Yeah. Oh, so it's just so I felt some kind of way about that.
Steve had no idea.
yeah. Well, I think he included himself. He's like, oh yeah, me and Steve, we had no idea. I was like, oh.
They were both from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You can't be from New York City in the 40s and not have an idea of what race relations are in the country.
Yeah.
Especially New York, because it was so segregated.
Yeah. So
like the Italians lived in one area, the Irish
they
lived
still
in another.
call it like little Italy.
Italy and Jamaica, Queens.
I fucking can't, yo. But let's pretend like I guess like all right, I'll give the same kind of leeway. Like I give Falcon like oh maybe they didn't have any kind of experience or any kind of historical context of racial whatever. All right, fine. It's like even so if I'll give that to them. It's like all right. I'll bypass that. But like, that could have been like a cool little scene because I mean at the end of that it was like Falcon was talking to him about his about dealing with trauma. It's like, oh, you're still having nightmares. Like, oh, at least you could give somebody some closure.
Yeah.
And so it's just like and he goes back to the grandpa and tells him that he's the like how his presumably he tells him like how his son died or how his grandson died, and he's just like, oh wow, like you see the guy like he's a little upset and he's still at the bar and like he's like damn like, but at least he gave him some closure. So. Like it's unfortunate. It's like one of those shitty things, but it's like, oh man, well at least it, you know.
At least there's a beat.
Yeah. He could sleep with that beat in his butt, you know. So it's like if they could draw on his like past experiences, especially like in the military, where it's like oh like as a working with vets, like well they could have drawn on Bucky's like knowledge about back in the day, and maybe he just because he existed back in the day doesn't mean that he co-signed to that kind of behavior. Like people are more nuanced than that, but that's like a poo-poo thing to say nowadays. Like people are always evil, and we're the best that we've ever been ever. So.
Well, we always maintain ourselves throughout. We never change.
Yeah, we've never like we're more smarter than we've ever been. Like we're more dynamic. We exposed to more stuff. It's like, yeah, no, we've advanced technologically in a lot of things, and legal-wise, like laws on the books, we've advanced a lot in terms of things that different people from different races are able to accomplish. Like, yeah, for sure. But in terms of like human-to-human interaction, it's been a fucking de-evolution. It's like devolution.
Devolution. It's the devil.
Bobby Boucher.
Books are the devil.